Hi, I'm Paul Wilson from Noon Valley Dairy. Welcome to the Cheese Kitchen, where we're going to make bloomy white mould cheeses like Camembert and Brie. Technically, it's the most difficult cheese of all the cheeses we've made, and it's probably the one cheese that people want to make at home and they're going to struggle to make because it is quite difficult to make it well. The first thing we do is add our milk and get that on to warm up. Like all the other cheeses we've made, we're going to heat this milk up to 40 degrees. Now, making this cheese, it's important to understand acidity. Because the correct pH or the acid level during this make is critical to making a good cheese. In our factory we use a pH meter, don't we? That pH meter that we use costs about 600 bucks. Okay. So I can't imagine the average home cheesemaker starting out was going to want to invest that sort of money. That's a lot of Camembert you can buy before you paid off your pH meter. So what you can use is pH paper or pH strips. Yep. So this works by having different colours. So I'll just pull out a bit of paper. I'll just dip that in the milk. And when I pull it out, it changes colour. And we have to match it up to the colour on the dial there. So we keep rotating around until we get there, which is about there, 6.8, which is perfect. That's textbook for fresh milk. Okay, I'll check the temperature. It's just getting to 40 degrees. This cheese traditionally is made around 35, but if we make it at 40, it just stresses the bacteria a little bit, and it means that we won't have those over-acidification problems. If we get too much acidity developed in this cheese, we're going to have a really runny, pungent ammonia cheese. So Paul, what happens if my milk isn't at 6.6 to 6.8? If it's much lower than 6.6, yep, you're going to get an over-acidified cheese, so you have problems with maturing it. If it's over 7, it probably indicates there's some contamination in the milk. If you're getting readings like that, then you really need to get new milk. We'll just check the temperature again, Kat. Okay. That's great. It's just coming up to 40 degrees now. Yep. So we can switch the gas off and we're going to put our cultures in. So this cheese has both the feta culture, so our farmhouse mixed mesophile cheese culture. Yep. Again, we put just the tip of the spoon on and sprinkle that. So that's our bacteria that are going to make the acid. But in this cheese we also have to put in a little bit of white mould. So bloomy white mould cheeses like Brie and Camembert have white mould going on the outside. So we need to put a little bit of that in the milk too. Okay, we've got those in. We'll give them a good stir. And now we leave that for an hour to mature. Now what we're actually looking for is a pH of around 6.5. It's been sitting now for 55 minutes. Okay. And that's great. It's down around the 6.5. So the pH is at the right level. We now want to put the rennet in. So this is 2 litres, so it's half a mil. We just put that in. We'll now stir for more than 1 minute, less than 3, and wait for that flocculation point again. We want to see the point where it goes from being a liquid to a solid. This took 11 minutes this time. Okay. So I'm going to multiply that by 3, so that's 33 minutes. So that tells me when I'll cut the cheese. We've cut the curd and it's been sitting for half an hour. The curd shrunk back and left some whey on top. We're just going to stir this for 3 minutes. And then at the end of that stir, we'll rest for another half hour and we'll repeat that stir, rest, stir, rest. So we'll have 3 stirs and 3 rests. Okay. And the goal is to get a pH of around 6.1 at the end of those stirs and rests. Okay, Kat, we've had 3 stirs and 3 rests, so we'll just check our pH to see if it's ready to hoop. And it's just coming up there to, that's perfect. It's between 5.9 and 6.2 on this scale, so that's ready to hoop. Just like when we did the traditional feta, take the curds out and put them into these moulds. For 2 litres of milk, 2 of these small hoops is plenty. Let them sit there for 10 minutes to drain down a bit and firm up, and then we'll start turning them. From here on in, the process is exactly the same as making the feta. So I just drop those out, turn them over. I'm going to sit that there, keep them warm. In half an hour, I'm going to turn them again. This is our last turn. This is turn number 5. There's no more whey coming out. And there's our little cheeses.
Oh, wow.
They'll drain out a bit more overnight, but we want to keep them warm. Overnight, 24 hours, just sit them here. These are some cheeses that we've made yesterday, and they're all ready to be brined. Yep. So remember with the feta we made a 10% brine. We put 100 grams of salt and 1 litre of water. Yeah. This time we're actually going to make a saturated brine. So that means we just keep putting salt in until no more dissolves. So in this litre of water, I've put about nearly a cup of salt. It doesn't matter how long I leave this, all this salt is not going to dissolve. Okay. I always want to see a bit of salt on the bottom. And that tells me the water is as salty as it can get. And I know for a cheese this big, 200 grams, I know I need to brine that for about 20 minutes. If there's some cheese sticking out of the top of the brine, just sprinkle some salt on top. The cheeses have been sitting in the brine now for 20 minutes, so it's time to take them out. Just turn them over and get that salt that was on the top off. And I'm going to put them in a Tupperware container. They just need to sit on something, whatever you've got in your kitchen, that can keep them up off the bottom. A sushi mat is ideal, or some chopsticks, or anything like that. So just put them in there, just so they're not sitting in free moisture, not touching each other. And then we'll put a lid on top. And that goes into the fridge, somewhere stable at the back, for about a week to 2 weeks. Now, for the first few days, leave them out of the fridge, just somewhere cool, and every day turn them over, because as the white mould starts to grow, it'll start to stick to whatever it's sitting on. So we just want to stop that from happening. Now, what we have here is a freshly brined cheese, a week-old cheese, and this one is a 2-week-old cheese. So you'll notice this one's lovely white and fluffy. Yep. And this one just got a light fuzz starting to grow on it. And that's the freshly brined one, which is still very soft. So that's the 3 different progressions. When it gets to this stage, we need to wrap it in cheese wrap, or something that's going to stop the moisture from drying out too quickly. So some baking paper or something like that. Wrap it and put it back in here and put it in the fridge. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below.
And next week we'll be back to make my take on cauliflower cheese.